Welcome to Dreamy Nights. Unwind and drift away with soothing night stories crafted to calm your mind and lead you into a peaceful sleep. Each story here is a gentle escape where dreams come alive and your worries melt away like stars in the night sky. Relax, close your eyes, and let us guide you into a world of tranquility. It was the kind of evening where everything felt just right. The sun was slowly setting, casting a soft, golden glow across the fields and trees, while a gentle breeze whispered through the leaves, filling the air with the faint scent of pine and wildflowers. Sarah and Matthew, lifelong friends, had always loved to walk together at dusk. Tonight, they had decided to explore the edges of the legendary Whispering Woods, a place known not only for its beauty, but for the stories people told about its peaceful and timeless energy. The entrance to the woods was familiar yet inviting, as if it had been waiting just for them. The tall trees seemed to bow gracefully as they stepped inside, their trunks thick and ancient, etched with deep lines that hinted at centuries of history. Shadows stretched across the forest floor, and the gentle light of early twilight filtered through the leaves, casting patterns on the path. "Do you feel that?" Sarah asked in a hushed voice. "It's as if the whole forest is holding its breath." Matthew nodded. "It does feel different tonight, like it's alive in a way I've never noticed before." His words were soft, merging seamlessly with the gentle rustling of leaves overhead. They walked on, breathing in the rich scent of the forest, a blend of damp earth, fallen leaves, and the faint sweetness of jasmine growing wild nearby. As they ventured deeper, the golden light of day began to give way to the deepening hues of twilight, painting everything in shades of purple and blue. The path wound gently down a small slope, where a creek babbled softly, its waters shimmering with the last glints of sunlight. They paused for a moment to listen, allowing the soft gurgling sound to wash over them, as soothing as a lullaby. Close to the water's edge, fireflies began to appear, their tiny lights blinking on and off, dancing like stars fallen to earth. One firefly landed on Sarah's hand, its soft glow casting a golden hue on her skin. "Look at that," she whispered, smiling as the firefly lifted off and joined its companions, flickering in and out of sight. "It's like the woods have their own constellation." Matthew watched the fireflies drift through the trees, their gentle lights creating a path deeper into the forest. "Maybe they're leading us somewhere," he said, feeling a pull to follow. They continued along the trail, following the flickering lights of the fireflies as they wound their way through the trees. The forest had fallen into a hushed silence, save for the occasional rustle of a leaf or the soft hoot of an owl in the distance. Each step they took felt lighter, more peaceful, as if they were leaving all their worries behind and sinking deeper into the calm of the woods. After a short while, they reached a small grove of willow trees. Their long, graceful branches swayed in the breeze, draping down like curtains and forming a cozy, sheltered canopy. The light had faded to a dusky blue, and a sense of quiet magic seemed to hang in the air, as if the grove itself were aware of their presence. Sarah and Matthew stepped inside, drawn by the gentle movement of the leaves overhead. The willows surrounded them in a soft embrace, their branches forming intricate patterns against the darkening sky. Tiny wildflowers dotted the grass, their petals glowing faintly in the dim light, adding a soft, natural beauty to the grove. Matthew nodded, equally mesmerized by the stillness. "I could stay here forever," he murmured. They sat quietly, listening to the gentle rustle of the willows, the soft breeze weaving through the leaves like a whispered lullaby. The forest seemed to hold them, wrapping them in its tranquil embrace as the night deepened. They were just about to leave the grove when a soft hooting sound caught their attention. Perched on a low branch nearby was an owl, its large, amber eyes watching them with quiet curiosity. It looked wise and calm, as though it understood the secrets of the forest better than anyone. The owl tilted its head almost as if it were studying them. Matthew felt an odd sense of connection, as if the owl were silently inviting them to linger just a little longer, to let the peace of the woods seep deeper into their bones. They watched it in silence, feeling a comforting warmth in its gaze. "It feels like it's trying to tell us something," Sarah whispered. The owl blinked slowly, its gaze steady and calm, before letting out one last soft hoot and gliding silently into the trees. They followed its flight until it disappeared into the shadows, leaving them with a sense of wonder and gratitude. They continued their journey, eventually finding themselves in a wide, open clearing. The great oak stood at the center, its branches reaching high into the night sky, sturdy and timeless. It was said that this tree had watched over the forest for centuries, standing guard through countless seasons. They lay down on the soft grass, looking up at the starlit sky. The stars twinkled softly, their light mingling with the faint glow of fireflies still dancing in the trees around them. A gentle melody filled the air, a song so soft it was barely there, as though the forest itself were humming them a lullaby. As they lay in silence, Sarah and Matthew felt a profound calm settle over them, a sense of belonging that filled every corner of their being. They let their eyes drift closed, listening to the distant whispers of the trees and the soft, rhythmic sounds of the forest at night. The great oak seemed to cradle them in its vast embrace, and they felt as if they were drifting, floating on the edge of sleep, wrapped in the gentle magic of the woods. When they finally rose to leave, they felt lighter, as if the forest had lifted every burden from their shoulders. The path back seemed shorter, as though the woods were gently guiding them home. The owl's hoot echoed softly in the distance, a gentle farewell from their new friend. As they walked out of the whispering woods, Sarah and Matthew knew they would carry a piece of its magic with them, a quiet memory of peace they could return to in their hearts whenever they needed it. Just as they thought they had left the magic of the whispering woods behind, Sarah and Matthew noticed a silvery light glowing off to the side of the trail. Curious, they turned to find themselves standing at the edge of a hidden meadow, and the entire field was covered with the moonflowers, delicate white blossoms that only open at night, their petals shimmering softly under the starlight. The sight was breathtaking. The moonflowers seemed to glow from within, their silken petals catching the faint light of the moon and stars. Each flower looked like a tiny lantern, illuminating the meadow in a soft, silvery glow. The fragrance was sweet and calming, filling the air with a gentle perfume that made them feel even more at peace. Sarah breathed in deeply, closing her eyes as the scent surrounded her. "It's like the whole meadow is alive," she murmured, feeling the soft earth beneath her feet, grounding her in the tranquility of the moment. Matthew nodded, his voice barely more than a whisper. "It's as if the forest is saying goodnight, giving us one last gift before we leave." They wandered slowly through the meadow, careful not to disturb the delicate flowers. Each step was gentle, almost reverent, as though they were in a sacred place. The moon hung low in the sky, casting a silver glow over everything, while the stars twinkled softly above, forming a perfect backdrop for the night's quiet magic. Just beyond the moonflower meadow, they came upon a small stream, its surface smooth and reflective, like a mirror for the stars above. The water flowed slowly, creating gentle ripples that shimmered with the light of the moon. It looked as if the stars themselves were dancing on the surface, following the gentle rhythm of the water's flow. They sat by the edge of the stream, watching as the reflections drifted along, weaving in and out of each other like tiny constellations. The sound of the water was soft and lulling, adding another layer of calm to the night. Without thinking, Sarah dipped her hand into the cool water, letting it flow gently over her fingers. It felt refreshing and grounding, as if the stream were carrying away all remaining worries and thoughts. Matthew joined her, cupping his hands and letting the water pool in his palms before releasing it back into the stream, watching as the ripples spread out, carrying tiny fragments of starlight with them. They sat in silence, listening to the sound of the water, and watching as the stars above seemed to dance in time with the stars below. It felt like a dream, a beautiful, calming dream they didn't want to end. As the night deepened, they reluctantly rose to their feet, feeling the gentle pull of home. The path back was softer somehow, as if the forest were guiding them along, carrying them forward on a gentle current of peace. They walked in silence, taking in the last sights and sounds of the forest. The fireflies continued to flicker softly around them, their lights casting tiny, golden glows that illuminated their path like miniature lanterns. The owl's gentle hoot echoed one last time, a soothing reminder of the peaceful night they'd experienced. As they emerged from the forest, they turned back to look at the whispering woods one final time, watching as the shadows blended with the starlight, cloaking the forest in a sense of mystery and timelessness. It felt as if the forest had given them a piece of itself, a memory they could carry with them and revisit whenever they needed peace. As they walked through the quiet fields leading back to their village, Sarah and Matthew felt a profound sense of calm settle over them. The world outside the whispering woods felt quieter, softer, as though they'd brought some of the forest's magic with them. They exchanged a knowing look, each understanding the other without needing words. It had been a journey unlike any other, a gift from the forest, a moment of peace they would carry with them long after the night had ended. As they said their goodnights and went their separate ways, each one carried the memory of the whispering woods in their hearts, a place they could return to in dreams. Quiet sanctuary that would always be there, waiting for those who knew how to listen. That night, as Sarah and Matthew lay in their beds, the memory of the whispering woods stayed with them, lingering like a gentle presence. The calm they'd felt in the forest had settled in their bones, and as they drifted into sleep, it carried them away into peaceful dreams. In her dream, Sarah found herself back in the moonflower meadow, the air thick with their soothing fragrance. She walked slowly, feeling the cool earth beneath her feet, and the soft glow of the flowers surrounded her like a blanket of starlight. Each step felt weightless, as if the earth itself were guiding her forward. She looked up and saw the owl perched on a branch above, watching her with calm, understanding eyes. It tilted its head in greeting, a silent reminder of their connection to the forest. As she wandered deeper, she came upon the stream once more. The water shimmered as it had before, but now it seemed even more alive, like a ribbon of silver light, flowing through the night. She knelt by the edge, dipping her hands into the water. It was cool and refreshing, filling her with a sense of pure, peaceful energy. She watched as the water transformed, turning into a delicate pattern of stars that drifted across her palms, each one carrying a piece of the night's magic. Meanwhile, Matthew's dream carried him back to the grove of willows. The air was warm, filled with a gentle breeze that rustled the leaves overhead. He lay back against the soft grass, feeling the branches sway gently above him, as though they were lulling him to sleep all over again. The sound of the forest was like a soft, comforting hum, a reminder of the timeless peace they'd found there. He felt the presence of the great oak nearby, as though it were watching over him, its silent strength grounding him in a deep, quiet calm. The next morning, as the first light of dawn filtered through their windows, Sarah and Matthew awoke feeling lighter, their hearts filled with a sense of peace they couldn't quite put into words. The dreams had been vivid, almost as if they had truly returned to the forest during the night. They could still feel the coolness of the stream, the gentle glow of the moonflowers, the silent companionship of the owl. Over breakfast, they met to share their dreams, marveling at how real it all had felt. Each detail matched perfectly, as though they'd walked through the same dream together, experiencing the magic of the whispering woods all over again. "It's like a part of the forest stayed with us," Sarah said, a soft smile on her face. "I feel so calm, like I could carry this peace with me all day." Matthew nodded. "Me too. Maybe the forest wanted us to remember, to hold on to that feeling, like a gift." They agreed to return soon, not to disturb the peace of the forest, but to visit as friends, knowing they were now welcome in the woods at any time. It was a place they could return to whenever they needed calm, a quiet world beyond the noise of everyday life, waiting patiently for those who knew how to listen. As they went about their day, they carried with them the memory of the forest, the soft rustle of willow leaves, the glow of fireflies, and the quiet strength of the great oak. And whenever they closed their eyes, they could almost hear the forest's gentle hum, a whisper of peace that would stay with them always. In the days that followed, Sarah and Matthew often felt a quiet longing to return to the whispering woods. They carried with them the gentle memories of their night there, like a soft tune playing in the background of their daily lives. Whenever life became too busy or their thoughts too noisy, they would remember the moonlit meadow, the trickling stream, and the comforting presence of the great oak. And with each memory, they felt a familiar calm settle over them once more. One evening, after a particularly long day, Sarah looked up at the setting sun and felt the pull of the forest stronger than ever. She glanced at Matthew, who seemed to feel it too, as he nodded before she could even suggest it. "We're due for another visit, don't you think?" he asked with a gentle smile. They didn't need to say more. Just as before, they let their steps carry them toward the whispering woods, where the fading light of dusk and the growing shadows of night welcomed them back like old friends. As they entered the forest, they noticed something unusual. This time, the fireflies seemed to gather in larger numbers, their tiny lights glowing brighter as they danced through the trees. They formed a trail along the forest floor, illuminating a new path they hadn't seen before, winding through a different part of the woods. The forest felt even more alive tonight, as if it recognized them, as if it, too, was happy to see them return. They followed the firefly-lit path deeper into the woods, their surroundings growing quieter and even more magical with each step. The light was softer here, with the moon just beginning to rise, casting a silvery glow over everything. The air was cool and filled with the scent of damp earth and moss, grounding them as they walked in wonder. At the end of the path, they found themselves standing before a hidden lake, its surface so smooth and clear that it mirrored the night sky perfectly. Stars seemed to float on the water, as if the heavens themselves had come down to rest on its surface. The sight took their breath away, the beauty of the lake so serene it felt otherworldly. As Sarah knelt by the edge, dipping her fingers into the cool, glassy water, sending gentle ripples across the surface. It's like the forest keeps opening up new secrets, showing us new wonders, she whispered, feeling a deep sense of gratitude for the forest's quiet gifts. Matthew joined her, looking out across the lake with a peaceful smile. It feels like the forest is always here, waiting for anyone who needs its calm, he said, his voice soft, like it's a sanctuary for those who know how to find it. They sat in silence by the lake, watching the stars reflected on the water, their lights twinkling in harmony with the stars above. Every so often, a soft breeze would ripple the surface, breaking up the reflections, only for them to settle back into perfect stillness moments later. It was like a reminder of the way the forest had changed them, how it had taught them to let go, to trust in stillness, and to find peace within themselves.